Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm really excited for today's guests, and this IG Live have been long time coming. And we're going to be joined today by Cathey Stoner and Sarah Sharp of the Talk to Me Sister podcast, which I was on a few months ago. And we're going to talk about Cathey and Sarah's story. It's a very inspiring story. So we're really honored they have chosen to share it with us today. So it looks like
All right. I'm
Hi. Hey, Jenna. How are you?
good. How are you? Thank you so much for having us.
I'm so glad. And then, would you guys join with another account or just together with this account?
Sarah is trying to join from her separate account. We were trying to get together today, but oh, sorry, my little light's falling. But she's gonna join from her own computer. So, oh, Liz is here. Hi, Liz. I love seeing this. So Sarah's gonna try to join here. So let's see
Okay.
if she can.
So maybe I can also try to invite her. I'll see if she's on.
Okay. Hey everybody, this is gonna be so fun. And I kind of have a little scratchy voice, but I'm gonna do my best.
Are you
Uh,
feeling okay?
I have laryngitis. It's strange.
no.
Yeah, it's strange, but I had a whole day today where I didn't talk much. So,
Well, thank you for making this really special because you're actually talking.
oh my gosh, of course. Yeah, I can push through. I can push through. I can't not talk for too long. We have too much to talk about, that's for sure. And yesterday was John Ryder's birthday. And so a year ago he was born. And so we just have a lot to celebrate. So it's fun to do that with you, Jenna.
That is so cool because yesterday was two of my best friends' birthday too. Very special day.
Oh, it's such a special day. Yeah, I had a friend too who was going to be induced and have a baby, but something happened and she's not here yet. But we were like, it's just the best day ever. August 18th. Okay, I just texted Sarah too.
We'll give her a couple minutes.
We'll give her some time. She's coming.
This is actually my first time we'll have a three-way Instagram live, so I'm really excited.
Okay, good, good. Well, we'll see how it goes. And if not, we'll do the best we can. She says she's trying to get here. Okay.
Yeah. I think she has to join first before I can send her an invite.
Okay. Yeah.
So thank you everyone for being patient, and Sarah should be with us anytime now.
Jenna, how was your summer?
Busy.
Yeah.
And we're actually it's funny. It's on Instagram today. We're talking about surrogacy. I think that during our podcast, I kind of mentioned that I might go through surrogacy myself.
Oh, you
So
didn't mention that.
yes,
Oh my
we've been thinking about it, and we might actually do it.
Oh my gosh, it makes me
Next
wanna
year.
cry. I'm so excited for you. Well, we're here to answer the questions that we can't answer for you. But it's really the most thrilling experience for a mother and for surrogate. It's just a miracle every single day. So, oh my goodness. So, can you share where you guys are with the steps? Or are you just kind of thinking on it?
We've been interviewing surrogacy agencies, which is kind of interesting. You can do it in the US, but we actually choose to do it internationally. In terms of cost and effectiveness and all these things. So we've been talking to agencies in Georgia, the country.
Yes. Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's really interesting.
It's really interesting. There's so many people who do it that way and have a lot of success. And we don't know much about the agency. We did interview somebody on our podcast though, and I'll send it to you. And you can link it or whatever, whoever's listening and interested. But we did talk to a girl on our podcast who did go through an agency because so many of our followers wanted to know that experience. But from what I hear, that experience is generally so smooth and you have so much support, which is kind of what you need when you're going through that process.
So if we end up successfully going through it, I'm happy to share that too.
Yes.
That would be useful for other
We
people.
would love that. Okay, she's confused. Okay, 1 second. Let me see if I can get out of here without my camera may turn off for 1 second, but you're
all right. Thank you everyone for being patient. we'll give Sarah a couple more minutes.
Yeah, and if not, we can get started.
Yeah. I think the first part of the question I prepared to ask you guys, you can probably answer it too.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, we can get started.
First, tell us a little bit about your childhood and where you grow up.
Yes. Okay. So those of you who don't know, Sarah is joining, but we are twin sisters and we grew up in Tennessee. So we're local to the Nashville area. And it's so busy now. There's so many people coming. It's a rare thing. I think that there's like a native Nashvilleian. But we we born in Texas. We spent some time in Virginia, but we have been in Tennessee since we were 8 years old. When we were 3 years old, our father passed away from leukemia. So our story has been involved with cancer from the very beginning. And we'll tell you more about our story, but it comes back around later, unfortunately. But our father passed away from leukemia. And we moved to Nashville when my mom remarried to an amazing man who adopted us. We all had the same last name. They had a baby, so we have a baby sister. And, we just had such a wonderful childhood and so many great things that were kind of filled in our cup after such tragedy that happened in our lives so early. Health and wellness was always really important to us, especially after my dad passed away. My mom was always very intentional with our health and our wellness and our nutrition. So that kind of led me to the path that I'm in. I'm in nutrition. I'm a registered dietitian. And then of course, Sarah's in sales and is like a businesswoman, but health is always important to all of us because of just the way we were raised. But sisters are also very important to us. We have, there's 4 girls. We have 4 girls in our family. My dad was very busy man. So health is important to us and our sisters are important to us. And we can see that those things that are foundational in our story have carried us, from here to, to now. So it's pretty interesting. And
That's amazing.
We all live like 20 minutes away from each other, within 20 minutes. So actually my older sister, our kids go to the same school. I mean, we're very intertwined into each other's lives, which is such a blessing.
Totally. Were you guys close when you were kids?
We were. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we were very close. I mean, Sarah and I shared a room till we were like freshmen in high school. And now it's funny. We shared a phone and a car until we went to college. I mean, we would like share one cell phone when a boyfriend would call,
Oh my God.
Anyway, so we're very close. I mean, Sarah and I are fraternal twins. So we looked different. We had different friends. We had different interests. And so I think that did help like our identity. Often as twins, I think you get like grouped together. But my mom was pretty good at like, she did her thing. I did my thing. We just kind of grew up like sisters rather than twins, even though we were in the same grade. And I think that really helped our identity as like a multiple set, and really we got closer as we got older. Obviously we've been through a lot together since then, but we got closer as we got older and we had similar interests. We both were moms. We both were in the same area of our career. So that also helped our closeness as we aged as well.
That's amazing.
Technical difficulties. This has happened to me all day. So I'm sorry I'm late. I was actually watching y'all talk. So I like heard everything Cathey said, and I was just like being standing by, just watch. So carry on.
No, the timing is actually great because the next question is actually getting to the real story. So
Awesome.
You're joined almost like the perfect time.
Okay.
Awesome. So like a lot of our viewers might not know you guys' story. Like, tell us a little bit about the whole story because, that Cathey, you were a surrogate for Sarah. So tell us how that come to be.
Okay, good. Yeah, Sarah, you want to kind of try to summarize it for us?
As I know we've told our story so many times, and it's always like we tell it like different ways, but we'll try to do like the cliff notes. Cathey, we can dive more into the surrogacy part. But yeah, I mean, so Cathey heard her talking a little bit about our background twins and our a little bit of our differences and just like our 20s and our career paths. And Cathey became a mom before I did, and kind of always like taught me like the motherhood stuff. And I was like I became pregnant with my daughter, which it's wild. I feel really grateful. She's 5 now. I put her on the bus for kindergarten this week. So just like full circle moment. But when I was pregnant with her, I had a pretty easy pregnancy, but afterwards I had a lot of issues, a lot of symptoms that I didn't really understand, and just kind of chalked it up as like, being a new mom. I guess this was like normal because no one really, I didn't really know what to expect. And so Cathey being in women's health, we tell each other everything. We're like best friends. And I think that like having her knowledge of just like pregnancy and postpartum, and one, she'd done it before, but number 2, she had a lot of knowledge about the female body and what was normal and wasn't normal. So, postpartum, I had a lot of issues, after I was pregnant with Charlotte, and, prolonged bleeding and hormonal changes and just a lot of crazy stuff. So I quit my corporate job. I just felt like I needed a break right when she turned 1. But I still didn't feel great, and I thought I had miscarried. So that took me to the hospital, a year later with this is crazy to even say out loud, almost a 40-day period, menstrual cycle, almost 45 days or something crazy. So that's not normal. And my OB did a bunch of tests. We thought I had an ectopic pregnancy. If you know what that is, it's a pregnancy that's lodged in the fallopian tubes, and that can never be a viable pregnancy. So they wanted to do a D&C for me. So they did that, and Cathey was right there by my side, obviously. And that was kind of a scary and like sad time because I didn't really know what was happening. I was kind of emotionally thinking I had a miscarriage. But wasn't really sure they weren't really sure what was going on with me because they did an ultrasound and couldn't find any sign of a pregnancy ever. They couldn't find a gestational sac. So my blood work was still showing that I was like 8 or 9 weeks pregnant, but there was nothing in my uterus. And so it was like very strange and conflicting. And anyway, Cathey was with me right before surgery, and they didn't really know what to expect when I went into surgery. And they said, there's a really good chance we get into surgery. And if it is an ectopic pregnancy, we might have to give you a hysterectomy immediately while you're under. So we just need to let you know that there's a good chance you could wake up with a hysterectomy. And at 30 years old, I mean, that was devastating. And my husband and I had already been talking about, potentially growing our family and giving Charlotte a sibling. And, me and my siblings are obviously close. Cathey had like started to talk about that. And so, I mean, in my mind, the picture of a family, like I wanted my children close in age. And so it was interesting timing because all this was happening on the heels of me leaving my job and being ready to be a stay-at-home mom and growing my family. And so Cathey, hearing that I might have a hysterectomy, immediately, like without hesitation, said, well, if this happens, like, I'll be your surrogate. I'll have your babies. Can you imagine? She was like, oh my gosh, like, can you imagine if you got pregnant with twins? I had a book called My Twin Had My Twins, and we were kind of joking. Can you imagine? True. And then fast forward a little bit, I woke up from surgery, did not have the hysterectomy. Like at the time, it was like, that was a blessing. Went about my week, and then I got a call from my OB a week later that said, you need to come immediately to the office. And that didn't feel good because I was like, whatever they want to tell me, they don't want to tell me over the phone. So I got into the OB's office and they said, we don't know how to tell you this. We didn't see this coming. We've never had a case in this in St. Thomas Midtown. We've never had a case of this in our practice, but we're sending you over to the oncology unit. You have cancer. And I think that like my whole world just completely stopped at 30 years old. I I was already on an emotional roller coaster from the last month of just like tests and not knowing and miscarriage and all the things that you think is going on. But to hear the cancer thing is like a reality is just, it's really kind of earth shattering. Like you don't even, when they say like your world stops, it really does. And I can talk about it okay now because I'm removed from it and I'm cancer free. And, you know, there's been time that has healed. And obviously, like Cathey and I's story and the birth of John Ryder and everything. But like, yeah, in the moment is pretty devastating. So I did so I won't tell you all the ups and downs of treatment. It's pretty horrific, but I did basically 2 years of treatment, almost a year and a half treatment. But when I was finally pronounced cancer free, well, I'll tell you, I was diagnosed with choriocarcinoma, which a lot of people don't know what that is, but it's a pregnancy that's formed from placental tissue. And it's very, very rare. I think there's 100,000 cases a year in the world.
It's a cancer form from placental tissue, not a pregnancy from placental tissue.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Y'all,
Yeah.
tried it. Brain is like almost, are we sure we want to do this on a Friday at 3 o'clock?
We're doing it. Keep going. Yeah. You're
and so, yeah, it was obviously I'd never heard of that was a thing. And it was really, really scary and horrible. And I gritted through it and had an incredible support system. I have incredible sisters, incredible family. It's a cancer diagnosis is something that you never prepare for, but like you have to deal with other people that surround you and that can be strong when you're not strong. So anyway, after my oncologist is incredible. She's at St. Tom. Well, now she was at St. Tom or Tennessee Oncology. She just started her own practice called Verdi Health, and I'm so proud of her. She's still here in Nashville, but she had known Cathey obviously through my whole treatment because she's seen the support of my sister, and Cathey visited me or was with me during infusions and all these things. And a year post being cancer free, like a year post treatment, I call it my kind of like healing year, which is funny, which was 2020, which everybody felt like 2020 was like the worst year of their lives. And like for me personally, it was like the best year of my life because the world stopped and I could like, you know, recover and rest and heal. And it was so beautiful. But maybe Cathey could take over the story from here because we don't have a ton of time. And I don't want to get so in the weeds of like treatment and like all those things. And I can answer any questions, but the story gets really beautiful from here. And I think that when Cathey came with me to my 1 year post follow-up where we kind of took the conversation to like growing my family and what are my options. Cause I didn't have a uterus. I got a partial hysterectomy as a part of my treatment. That's very important to say. I forgot to say that, you know, in that year and a half, I did a lot of chemotherapy. I had like almost 9 chemo drugs that went through my body. But my surgery, the partial hysterectomy, which means you still keep your ovaries and you still have your eggs, it was a vital part of my treatment plan and my healing. So, Cathey, do you want to take it from there? Like our visit with Dr. Nick?
Yeah. So I went to Sarah's her checkup with her. It was a year after she was pronounced cancer free. And really once you get, for this specific diagnosis, once you get a year out, really the rate of reoccurrence is low. So Sarah felt really good about nourishing her body and improving her egg quality after all of the chemo. And us going to that appointment, we talked to her oncologist, like, would this be a safe thing for us to do, for me to do? And she gave us the green light. And so we decided to kind of move forward with me being a surrogate, knowing that we still had a lot of hoops to jump through. Sarah had to get viable embryos. I had to be screened and emotionally and physically and, go through all the hoops to be considered a surrogate. And Sarah needed to get viable embryos. So we knew that like we wanted to move forward knowing that if it wasn't supposed to be, it wouldn't be, because there's IVF, surrogacy, none of it is easy. So we just knew that if it wasn't supposed to work out, it wouldn't work out. So it was a really exciting time. the four of us, so me and my husband and Sarah and her husband, went out to brunch one day and just were like, went through all the pros and cons, all the questions. We all cried. We all laughed. I mean, we were like, is this something that we're doing for real? And we decided just to move forward with it, like in faith and in hope that science and God both would help us make this happen. And so we went through that summer of 2021. Now at this point, Sarah and Richard went through embryo development, and even after all the chemo she went through, she got some viable embryos, was an answer to a ton of prayer. And then I started going through the process of surrogacy screening and IVF, and that was the summer of 2021. And then in December, we did IVF transfer, and we found out 10 days later that I was carrying their son and that the pregnancy stuck. And we went through that pregnancy together, really the four of us and our families. I have two kids. I have a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old who were so invested, and we just let them know, like, our job is to babysit for the next 9 or 10 months, and we're going to take care of John Ryder. And they were very excited and still are just like beaming with pride about their cousin. So we went through the year of pregnancy together. The four of us even went on a baby moon to Cancun together, which is a really fun way to celebrate a pregnancy. And overall, the pregnancy, ready to go back. Overall, the pregnancy was very, very smooth. I mean, really considering the process of IVF and surrogacy screening. I mean, Jenna, you're in it. Like, it's not an easy process. We feel very grateful because we didn't have any major hiccups. We had normal, like, concerns and normal pregnancy stuff, and we had IVF delayed 1 month, just things that happen when you're going through IVF in like a post-COVID world, where like Sarah and Richard had to take turns going to the doctor with me, and, things that you don't think about. And
even transfer, Cathey. The day Cathey did transfer, so means our embryo that was, carried from the embryologist to the catheter that did it gets such a beautiful moment. But COVID, I was going to say, I was the only one that was able to be back there. Richard was not. So like it was all weird during COVID, but.
But thankfully for his delivery, so John Ryder's birthday, Sarah's son, was born a year ago. His birthday was yesterday, August 18th, 2022. Wait,
yeah,
2021. Sorry.
I know. What year is?
I know. I got it all mixed up. Anyway, his birth was amazing. All four of us got to be in the delivery room. So my husband, Sarah, Richard, Sarah, John Ryder was passed directly to Sarah, and she got to cut the cord. It just was the most incredible day. We all got to just hold him and pass him around. And, it was just the most miraculous, wonderful thing that we've ever been through. I mean, it changed our lives. And we talked about this a little bit, but during this process, we started a podcast just to record our journey and share with people what we've been through. Because when we started the process of surrogacy, we didn't know many people who had been through it. I mean, we live in Middle Tennessee. It's not as common around here. Like, we had so many questions, and Sarah alone had been through so much that so many women need community with. And so we did start our podcast to really like prepare other women who were going through what we were, not to like give a ton of advice, but just share our experience. And so it's been an incredible way to raise awareness for surrogacy, cancer research, and just advocacy, and connect with people like you. So we have a lot to celebrate. We're celebrating John Ryder's birthday this weekend at Sarah's new house, and it's just
like what Cathey said. I think that like being a year from it and seeing him walk and like seeing how our lives have just like blossomed this year, seeing John Ryder with Cathey's family, like, even her kids are just like so excited when he's walking, and like we're all so close, and life gets busy and routines happen, but like I like literally stop in my tracks sometimes when I see him, because I'm like, he's such a miracle, and he's such like just like birth out of like a horrible situation that like at the time like you really can't see through. And like there's so many things like, I think too, like when Cathey was talking about embryo creation, sometimes when you do and I know this is not about IVF, but sometimes when you do egg retrieval, there's a lot of women that Cathey and I kind of talk to or encourage that are going through IVF that maybe have, not so great results time and time again. And I was super lucky. Like they only retrieved 5 eggs from me, which is really with IVF is not great at all. They want to get to like at least 15 or 20 or more. And, I had a fertilized perfect egg, and it happened to be John Ryder. So it's just like we feel God's hand fall. And Cathey talks a lot about two women who are, interested in being surrogates too. So I think it's from both sides. We both have a lot of, insight, because really we did the journey together, but we're on 2 different sides of the journey. So it was super, it was interesting and beautiful. And I think we both probably feel really blessed with the women we've connected to too, that have just reached out to us with questions and, kind of, with different journeys and stuff. And surrogacy is such a beautiful thing. And I'm always like blown away that Cathey and like women like Cathey feel such a calling, because it really is such a calling to use your body as like a gift for somebody else. So, I think that, yeah, we just feel really blessed by it. And I can't believe it's been a year. So this is like a crazy time Instagram live, because his birthday party starts at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. So,
That is so amazing. I feel like this process, you guys are close already, and it feels that it brought you even closer, your entire family.
yes. Oh, yes. I mean, yeah, you can't really go through the birth of a child, and not do anything that's more vulnerable together emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially. Like it's your whole, so involved. But I think it actually helped a lot. I mean, there's so many, I think the pro of doing it with a family member is that you can get very involved. Sarah got to go to every appointment with me, and some people don't want that, as a intended parent, but I think it helped a lot in terms of their connection, and I get to see him grow up. So it's a particular way to do it, but we have loved every moment of it. But yeah, it's gotten us very close. I mean, our families will never be the same for sure.
Do you have any advice about like this? Oh, sorry, Sarah, go ahead.
You go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, did you guys have any advice when discussing this decision with your significant others, with your husbands?
Oh, yeah.
What was their reaction?
Well, I'll let Sarah answer this too, but my first advice is you definitely need your partner and your spouse to be like 100% also on board, because it's such a family event, and it's not just like a one-time thing. I mean, it's months and months. Probably about 2 years of our life really discussing it, getting pregnant, staying pregnant. Everybody has to be on board. Everybody has to be willing to make sacrifices. Everybody has to be excited, everybody has to be like so into seeing what's on the other side of this process. And so my husband's first reaction was like, absolutely. He wasn't so surprised, because I'm in women's health, and he also has heard me talk about crazier things, I'm sure. But also he was my boyfriend like in the freshman year of high school when I was 14. And he has been like Sarah's brother, and seen her be sick, and seen, the cancer walk, and seen how close we were. So he also felt like he was part of this new healing step for her. And I think Richard did as well. So, it was an adventure to do together. We wouldn't have had it any other way.
Yeah. So Cathey's conversation, her husband was probably different than the one with mine, but Richard likewise has known Cathey for years and years, and also feels like she's a sister. And when she kind of offered this up, I think he was like, imagine that this would even be real, but he was like, I wouldn't want anyone else to carry our child other than Cathey. Like, of course, we were overwhelmed with the gift and the option. But I was going to say this too about surrogacy, because Cathey made a good point. in our area of the country, like surrogacy is getting more and more popular in other ways of creating a family. But I think that, when me and my husband were considering the option of surrogacy, there's so much that goes into it, like the screening, the emotional stuff, the financial stuff on the intended parent side. All of it seemed so logistically difficult, and like when if not knowing anything. But I was lucky enough to get in touch with a girl locally here that had done surrogacy with her sister-in-law, and it had worked out, and like she had a beautiful girl, and like she was, it was just an easy process, and insurance, and like she answered like a million questions for me. And I remember thinking, like, me and my husband were like, it doesn't seem like, it seems like a whole, like, how can this like logistically be like work? But I remember when I finally found somebody that had gone before me and had done it. And so same with on Cathey's side with the surrogacy thing. It doesn't seem as overwhelming or impossible. That's the word I'm looking for. It doesn't seem as impossible when you have like a great fertility group, an incredible surrogate, an incredible OB, and like people that can kind of guide you step by step. Because really, Cathey would agree, probably, like, it was such a step by step process. And when you chop
one day at a time.
yeah, the four of us, like Richard, Alex, Cathey, and I think when we decided, like, okay, we're not gonna be so overwhelmed by this process financially or emotionally, and we just kind of like, took guidance from professionals and went like step by step. It was so much, it was just like a lot more seamless and manageable and beautiful than we thought it would be. So that should be, that should be encouraging for people who are like, because I've had a couple women in the past, like, couple months be like, surrogacy just seems so impossible to me. Like, I don't even know if that's an option for us. So that's my encouraging note. So
yeah, this is incredible. And I love how you documented the process and also spreading the words through your podcast. So tell us about your podcast.
Well, we knew we had to share our story because like I said, like we didn't know anybody who had done anything like this before. And we did feel a sense of peace when we connected with people who had. Like, Sarah connected with a mom who had a child through surrogacy, who was also a cancer survivor. And I connected with somebody who had been a surrogate and just listening to the pros and the cons and really weighing things out, that made us feel better. So we thought, we've got to share our story. We've got to help other people know that this is an option. And we didn't want to have to show our face too much because we had tiny kids and it was a pandemic. And I'm a podcast lover. So we just decided, let's record it. And I literally Googled how to start a podcast. I had no idea. Sarah was like making us graphics and Instagram stuff. I mean, we just divided and conquered our strengths. And we hired some girls to help us edit, and we just started recording. And we thought, we talk on the phone all the time anyway. We might as well just record it. Like, if we're talking for 2 hours a day, we might as well record it. And so that's how we started it. And I just want to say one thing that also encourages people, like what Sarah was saying, is that I think the first part of it feels so overwhelming. Jenna, you're probably in there where you're like looking at all the things that need to happen. Mm-hmm. But really, once we got pregnant, it felt like a very normal, seamless pregnancy. I think it's the beginning part that felt like hoops to jump through. And then after John Ryder was conceived, it kind of felt seamless, like just going to normal doctor's appointments. It was pretty smooth after that. And it's all worth it. I mean, we're a year out and it feels like a crazy dream that happened, like that all of those really hard things were worth it. And easy, in hindsight. So, but yeah, so we were pregnant and making a podcast. So we were in over our heads, honestly. I don't know how we did it.
Honestly, in 2021, we did so much. We did. It was so fast and furious. Towards the end of John Ryder's pregnancy, Cathey was like, okay, we got to slow down.
Yeah.
So it was like, it's August, doing it hot. Yeah, we were like, we need to chill now. But yeah, podcast, fun. And we have 2 seasons. You can listen on Apple and Spotify. We're about to kick off season 3, probably middle fall. Once we're waiting to get kids in school and kind of just like settle into fall. We're gonna start pretty soon, and yeah, we love it. We're gonna continue it. We've met a lot of amazing women. So
Yeah, and Jenna, you were on this year. I mean, our season 1, we really documented our pregnancy and surrogacy, and Sarah's cancer journey, because there's so many parts of our story that different people relate to. Even just, going through hard things and how do we overcome it together? What do you say to someone going through cancer? There's so many things that we discuss on season 1. Oh man, we cry, we laugh, like it's a lot. Season 2,
Yep.
we wanted to continue sharing other women's stories who had been through a lot, which is how we connected with you, Jenna, being a business owner and just like breaking glass ceilings and all the incredible things that you're doing. So, yeah, it's been a fun adventure, that things we've never even imagined doing. So
it's awesome.
we just keep saying yes. I mean, that's what we started with in terms of surrogacy, and we just said, let's just say yes to things and see what happens, see what doors open. And we've continued to do that kind of in our activism and philanthropy. Just keep saying yes and seeing what happens. And it's a good little motto.
Yeah, it is a good motto. I always say, like I said this year to a friend too, I'm like, 2021 was my year of yes. 2022 has been my year of yes. 23 will be my year of yes. And we've kind of prayed for closed doors along the way. So if like the door doesn't slam shut, then we're like, okay. But
yeah.
I'm not sure if that's gonna happen.
Yeah,
I know. Sometimes it slams shut, and then it's for a reason. So that's kind of my philosophy too.
Yeah.
So, Cathey, you also mentioned about advocacy, right? So tell us about the researchers. How can people donate?
Yes, thank you so much for bringing that up. I mean, that's just part of what we're doing, and it's been something that we've really been excited to be involved with. It's the American Cancer Society has a kind of like a smaller campaign called the Researchers campaign, and it's all the funds go to female cancer researchers in that specific state. So we're fundraising for female cancer researchers in the state of Tennessee. And we know them, we've met them, these funds go straight to them, and they're finding a cure for cancer. It also goes to STEM programs, so science, technology, engineering, and math programs for young girls who will be the researchers of our future. So it's an incredible campaign. We're so excited that we got to be involved in it this year. And there is a link on our bio on our Instagram to donate. We've surpassed our goal, but we're never ending. We're never going to stop fundraising for cancer research. So anybody, even $10, we know the doctors who it goes in their pockets who are doing just incredible work. So yeah, thank you. And we'll do it. We're going to do it every year. So keep an eye out.
That is amazing. So thank you so much for sharing this inspiring story. And then I encourage everyone to check out the podcast, and then we'll also include the researcher and all the links promoting this Instagram live.
Awesome. Thank you, Jenna. Good luck to you. Please keep us updated. We're so excited about talking to surrogacy about anybody.
For sure. It works out next year. I'm gonna have to tell you guys all about it.
Well, we'll have you back on the pod to tell everything.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Have a great weekend, and then
thank you, Jenna. Thank you, everybody.
To John Ryder.
Oh, I know. It's so sweet.
Thank you so much. You're so wonderful. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.